Hello and welcome to Strategy and Soul. This is the podcast for ambitious female entrepreneurs that want to talk more about blending spirituality with strategy for business growth. I'm your host, Danica Rose Creative, and I'm so excited to bring to you guests weekly from all over the world, as well as solo episodes and snack pod episodes to feed your soul in less than 10 minutes. Hello and welcome to another episode of Strategy and Soul. Wherever you are viewing from or listening from, I'm ever so grateful for you to join us. Today is another guest episode and we have an intuitive psychic channel named Allison, who is an established author. She's written a few books now, been teaching for many years as a spiritual mentor and life coach. So Allison, tell us where you're from and what are you most passionate about? What do you want to talk about today?
Oh my gosh, don't open that can of worms because there's so much. So I am just north of Chicago and it is a blustery, rainy evening to set the stage here.
Love the mood.
And yeah, a little spook going on, a little holiday spook. I want to talk about intuition and business and making it happen. I think it's the future of education, business, medicine, anything. Connecting with your intuition.
Amazing. So are we talking some like new world paradigm here, or are we keeping it 3D?
Oh no, it's a new world paradigm because consciousness is expanded. And when you expand, you include, and what you include is more awareness of who you really are, which is an intuitive being. You were born with it. You never lost it. You never disconnected. So let's just help you realize the fact that you are still always have been connected.
I love it. And I think if anyone listening is kind of blocking it out and they're like, what the crap was all of that? What did she just say? Like, just replay it, go back and listen to it 4 times, listen to it 5 times until that really like sinks in, because the message here is so potent. It is so important. And given Allison's experience in teaching and the way that we've just jammed already with our connection, I know that she's very succinct in what she's saying. So get out those pens and papers, ladies. I want you taking notes here again, as usual, because we've got a lot of interesting topics. First, I'm just going to gear it towards marketing and messaging and how we're blending our intuition in that. What's your experience, opinions, ideas? Let's go.
So in terms of marketing, well, that's an interesting bucket that we're dipping our toes into. It can go many different ways. I mean, and how you use your intuition, let's say you're the receiver of the marketing, not the creator, but how you receive the marketing, your intuition can help you because there's stuff out there that really isn't beneficial. It's literally just lip service. And you can feel it by the fear or the limitation that it generates. I was marketed that way and I took it, hook, line, and sinker. It felt horrible. And I vowed never to market myself that way from a place of limitation, fear, or emergency, kind of like, oh, do it now. If you don't do it now, you'll never get it. It's like, there's a sense of like, I do not market that way ever, because I don't want my first touch point with my client to be one of fear or limitation or FOMO.
And we don't want to like rush and then add that scarcity in, like, if I don't do this now, then like you said, I'm missing out on something, even with product-based businesses, and you're kind of like, quick buy now. And then like the next day your sales drop and you're like, oh, I wonder why that happened. And it's like, well, we kind of rushed them into a decision by lowering the value, lowering the price, lowering it and going, oh, and it creates that resistance in the body that you can feel.
Well, I also understand the flip side of the purchase. Then the other side of the purchase, what happens? And I'm in an industry of intellectual property, content creation, right? On that side. Yeah. And as a teacher, I know that once you've purchased that product, there has to be some substantial support, or that material is not going to be integrated into your life. I know that because I've been doing this for a really long time. Over 25 years I've been teaching. And I know what it takes to take information and not just memorize it, not just be able to regurgitate it, but to use it and have it create fundamental change to your mind, body, and soul. So you therefore can create a dramatic difference in your own physical life, inner and outer.
Yeah, and we're not like restricting it to timelines either, because there is such a thing as some people could take a piece of information and they can apply it immediately. So, and they go, yeah, cool. I can see all the blocks. I have awareness. I understand, and I'm going to apply it. And these are the solutions. They're already in that frequency and vibration of solution, and they're already in and have the capacity or the support around them. And there's a lot of people that will be on the other side of it and they go, well, that was a lot to consume, or I'm overwhelmed. I don't understand. I don't know where I'm even blocked. I don't have the support to actually do that. And what do you make of, giving out a blueprint? If someone was wanting to be coached or trained in marketing and they're listening and consuming all of this information and trying to apply that to their business, what do you think they need to be doing more of?
Well, blueprints are blueprints. I mean, it depends. They're just a set of information. Blueprint is what you did when you went to school. You got a blueprint. It's called a curriculum, right? And you tried to engage with it, but every person is different. Every level of engagement is different. So we're not really talking about the blueprint. We're talking about the person,
Yeah.
right? And so if you're not somebody if you're just going to buy a blueprint, well, you are going to interact with that based on your level of awareness, understanding,
Yeah.
energy, all of that stuff.
Conditioning. Yeah. There's so many things that
Conditioning.
come into play.
And since I'm in personal development, there's actually a lot when you're aware of it and you begin to look for it. Standardized personal development. It is a blueprint. There's a lot of the same speech involved. There's a lot of the same material. There's a lot of the same approaches, and it really is standardized personal development. There's a script to it. When I created my stuff, a fundamental different orientation. Standardized personal development is usually linear based. It's sort of a flat two-dimensional time, point to point destination. That's your standardized personal development. What I created was a multi-dimensional experience with a student at the center where you integrate with 7 different principles or concepts based on you. It's really based on you. There is no time integration into this. There isn't like you have to do this or this in a specific time. So it's a multi-dimensional experience because of all the things that we're talking about, because I went through all of those things. And I had some super challenging experiences, both as the purchaser of somebody who was marketing to me, somebody who got shoved a blueprint. And as a teacher on the other side of that, I said, wait a second, we need to pause and we have to create something very, very different. And to your point, when we started out, intuition is the difference that is the future. Because we're coming to the point where we're realizing diversity is the nature of this reality, is what creates abundance. And your intuitive guidance is the thing that is the only thing that can be actual real-time accurate. Your mother can't do it, your best friend can't do it, your coach can't do it. Your intuition can, because it's you talking to you.
Yeah, I love that. And about you talking to you, what do those conversations look like? How do they come about in a normal, you just wake up for your day? What does it look like?
For me personally,
Yeah, I think it's nice. Like, I want to hear like a little bit of your story. And then if you've got any tidbits to share for other people that might be experimenting with different things, because of course, as we're all explaining, what Allison is doing and what I'm doing, that's just a matter of our own lived experience. And there might be other techniques that work better for other people. So if you want to shed some light on those in your experience, that would be amazing.
Well, my jumping off point into the world of intuition came from it was like my hero's journey. I hit rock bottom. And to come back up, I needed to follow my intuition. So over the years, it has been one of patience, self-love, kindness, understanding, expansion, all of these different things. Fast forward to where I am today, my intuition is always turned on. It is constantly working. It works in my relationship, my business, my writing, my exercise, my food consumption, what I eat, like everything.
It's so holistic. It's so
very
holistic.
because intuition is not topic centric, it's soul centric, it's you centric, right? So when I sleep at night, I actually download information because that's my path of least resistance. It's not for everybody. Some people are like, I want to sleep. I do sleep. But what I wake up with is an awareness of what my soul has done in the evening, which is go, scatter itself across the ether, into past the time space, spectrum, pick up information that I'd like to know more about and come back. And I wake up and I wake up with just a flood of ideas and
Are you consciously asking for this experience before you sleep?
I do. In fact, I do. When I first started, of course, I was resistant to it. I'd ask, but then I'd be like, oh, that won't happen. And little by little, I started to realize that I would have sort of lucid periods during the night where I'd have downloads of information, or I'd just wake up with the answers to
Yeah.
things that were perfect solutions for me. And it's so fun because you are your best guidance system, you
Yeah.
know. There's nothing that is as accurate, that's as proficient, that is as loving as your inner guidance system. So I mean, I'm in the midst of doing a project right now, and I'm just exploding with like ideas. I get them when I exercise. Um, so my day is absolutely influenced by intuition in all facets, in
Do you
all
take a
ways.
lot of notes? Are they mental notes? Are they just stored inside of you? Do you write stuff down? What are the practical things
All of
that
the
you do?
above.
Yeah.
All of the above. So because I'm a writer, I
Yeah.
process through words, and I I usually start by writing stuff down, but eventually just transition to the computer because they happen so quickly.
Yeah.
I love structuring information, but that doesn't mean rigidity. That just means a framework through which we can look. So I like things to be structured, but as we are a structure ourselves, we have like like bones in our body
Mm.
that create a structure. The manifestation on that structure is individual for every person. That's kind of the way I look at information. I offer structural information, but to build on it, each person builds on it based on what they need to get out of it. Like intuition, what's your definition, right? Like your definition's different from mine.
Yeah.
Mine has evolved, so will yours.
Yeah, and I'm loving I just want to admire as well your self-awareness and the way that you're able to communicate through the lens of I'm self-aware, I know who I am. And I don't know if anyone else can hear that in the way that Allison speaks. It's very grounded and it almost comforts me in a way because I can see the gaps in myself. And I love to engage in conversations and go, wow, like, it's inspirational. It's not from a sake of comparison, but it's so human of us to compare and to then judge and say, oh, where am I not doing this? Where have I done that? Wow, I'm proud of myself. These are some thoughts that are going through my head as I'm just listening to you speak. I'm blown away by alignment of the conversation and how I've sort of just cast a net out and went, everyone, this is what the intention is and what I'm doing. And the people that have been brought into the space, Allison, like you're not alone. I know that you know that already, but this type of conversation is going to be more palatable for a lot of other people that are coming in and going, well, if I'm mixing my strategy with my soul, what does it look like? And this is a true embodiment of a real feminine energy that has worked through and found balance and found that grounded structure that suits herself. This is Allison living out her best life right now. I'm just so fired up and comforted and like I'm just appreciating the conversation so much.
Well, one of the things that I set forth in any conversation or interaction, especially when it comes to involving the work that I do, is alignment. And I know that there's no script that I need to adhere to, that if I come in alignment, what I offer is the opportunity to model what's possible for other people. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that my clients always walk away with. They're like, I feel so good. Things are happening so fast. It's not because of what we do, because we don't have to do anything specific. It's about alignment, receptivity to the abundance that's already there, and just authenticity. Man,
Yeah, and I think there's
authenticity
a bit
is
of
like,
self-permission as well. Like there's that undertone of self-permission and the decision making. If we're using our discernment and we're able to use our intuition to say, yes, that's right for me, or no, that's not right for me. And this is something that I'm teaching in my intuition training, and that goes for 6 weeks. And these are subjects that I also touch on, which I'm loving that it's such a merger of souls right now. There is a collective that are coming together to push this message out to the greater human population. There's billions of us on this planet, and we so are in dire need right now of people living in their truth. And if you're not sure what your truth is, it's people like us that you've now engaged in to bring yourself to that awareness. Your curiosity is what is leading you down the path of knowing. And that's really like, that's alignment. So welcome
it
to
is. And
alignment.
exactly. And the other word that I have over time discovered that it is, because people talk about confidence and I want self-confidence and I want more confidence.
Yeah.
When you trust your intuition and when you understand how it's coming through you and you apply it to different categories, like I said, it's a holistic principle that can be applied to all categories of your life. But when you start having experiential learning with that and you start experiencing, you start trusting, and you come to this, eventually you come to the doorway of confidence and you open it and you realize, oh my God, it's me. I'm here. I've arrived, and people talk about seeking it out and wanting it. I'm telling you guys, if you follow your intuition, it's an organic offshoot of of being your authentic self, and trusting your intuition is this thing called confidence. And that's what
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think people see. And it's confidence in all regards. It's confidence in the decisions that you make in your business, when you make them, who you work with, the future. Because there are times where you're in between projects and it looks like, if you look at the physical reality, it looks like, oh my God, there's nothing on the horizon.
Yeah.
And then there's that dip in
Or
what
there's
people
like
call
no
confidence. I'm
clients or
worried.
no sales, and you're like getting, like you said, the worry. It starts to tap into that
Yes.
frequency. And it's about maintaining that self-concept, persisting in the story, knowing and trusting that eventually it will work out. And if you don't have that inbuilt belief system, and there are many people that are born onto this planet that have had to go through a lot of challenges in their life, and lack of confidence in my own experience was me repeating habits and cycles that were proving to myself that I wasn't worthy, that I wasn't abundant. And then because I wasn't really shifting in big enough ways or in deep enough ways. And it's not about not being enough. That's not what I'm speaking into. But if there are action steps that you could have taken, or someone gave you advice and you ignored it, or I know I've been there. I've heard people say stuff like what Allison and I taught, and I was like, what a whole lot of woo-woo. I don't understand any of that. And I completely blocked it out. This is probably 10, 12 years ago. And especially being a very young, I was just coming into my womanhood at that time. So I'm like, meh, don't care about any of this. I don't know what you're all talking about. And there's a coming of age that has to happen. And for some women, that might be in their 40s. It could be in their 50s or 60s. And generational trauma. We've got just like so many things that are, like we said, it's holistic. There's a huge sphere around this topic. And the deeper that you're diving into it, the more you're going to be able to prove to yourself that you actually can do it. And I think that having the discipline and the consistency is what breeds that self-trust. So if you're not feeling confident and you're staying in the habits of proving to yourself, yes, it didn't work out. Look, it didn't work out again. See, it didn't work out again. That's your belief now. And while you stay,
you have to have the self-awareness to know you're doing that, though. And
Yeah.
that comes with time and experience and
Yeah.
the expansion of your consciousness. I'll give your audience a formula that they can work with. The profound nature of this formula is really the nature. It shows you the nature of reality. It's effective, it's efficient, it's individualized, and you can apply it. Let's just say business, because we're talking about business. It's gonna seem like, once I tell you the formula, it may seem like when you're applying this formula that you're going off track. But I'm going to counsel you to pause and reflect back on this being a fundamental principle of this reality, and that it is not leading you off track, and that everything is connected. Like we just talked about the holistic nature of the application of intuition. The formula goes like this. I'm going to say it, and then we can break it down if you want to, or people can just go listen to it. So you want to do this. Follow your highest level of excitement in any given moment. From the choices that you have before you, take it as far as you can take it till you can't take it any farther. Don't insist or demand that passion has to become something specific, and stay in a positive mindset as often as you can, right? So what that's doing is that's taking your inner guidance system, and from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, if you're following that principle and that formula, what you're doing is you're functioning in the most efficient capacity. Why? Because you're operating in synchronicity. Synchronicity is the operating principle of this reality. It gives you what you need when you need it. That it gives you stuff that's applicable to you, for you. You are in an energy of expansion. When you are stressed out, that's an energy of constriction. It's an energy of fatigue and resistance. It's an energy of exclusion. You are excluding from your thought process, from your ideas, from your options, things that could make you more proficient at what you're
Including,
trying to
yeah,
do.
opportunities and people that are coming into
Yes.
your circle, or an opportunity to even pitch an idea to someone else. And if we're stressed and, like you said, we're constricted, it's that closed energy.
Yeah. And so I know people that, even the woo-woo people can sometimes go, well, I'm supposed to follow the plan. I had a goal, and I set plans, and had, 6 steps I was supposed to do today. And this thing doesn't, because I'm not excited about them, I'm excited about this, then I'm not achieving my goal or whatever. You know what? You need to let that go and accept the new modality, which is, it isn't about, a linear goal set that you're trying to achieve. It's about following your highest excitement, because that's an expanded energy. That's a connected energy. That's an energy that allows you to get to that end result in the most fun, efficient, exciting, interesting, soul healing way.
And
right? And
I
it's
want to just
different from goal
elaborate
setting.
on excitement as well. Like, are there other keywords that are playing into that? Because
Yep.
some that I use are like joy, pleasure, desire, fun. Like, what are the other things that you sort of think?
Curiosity.
Yeah, I love that one.
Curiosity,
Yeah,
interesting. I find that very interesting. Like, you can
yeah,
it doesn't have to be on the end of the spectrum that, rhymes with bliss. It's like, you don't have to
yeah,
go completely to the end. We're talking about anywhere on the spectrum that feels expansive. So you guys, listeners, pick your own words, because these words are going to resonate with us,
yeah.
but you have your own words. So hopeful, interesting, exciting, curious, go get a thesaurus and look up words and pick the words that when you say them, you feel a sense of, you know what it feels like to be expanded. You guys know. So when you hear a word that makes you feel expanded, those are the words that you use instead of excitement, right? This is a very individualized process. I love words. So my whole book, The Halfways, is based on the phrase, the halfways. When I heard my mentor say that, I just felt this explosion. I'm like, oh my God, that is the
That
coolest
is
thing. And then
it.
right. And in that energy, you can kind of feel your crossing paths with the completeness of an idea. And for me, it was like, oh my God, that's a book. That's a book. And then I sat on it for a year. I didn't do anything. And the old white guy in personal development would have told me that I was unmotivated and uninspired, and all this
You
other
didn't try
baloney.
hard enough,
I didn't try
You
hard enough.
didn't
You didn't
work
set a
hard
big enough
enough.
goal.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
didn't.
it's like, you know what? No. So I basically, what I did for that whole year is I played with the idea, and I fell in love with it, and I enjoyed it. And I thought it's just one of those things that I completely had the most joyful experience with. And then when I felt, because I'm a very intuitive person, this is how I operate, when I knew it was time, it was sort of like a barometer, where you can see the barometer fill up. This is sort of like an energetic fill up before I take action on anything. I can feel it, and I can now pay attention to what is the point, the most efficient point for me to start taking inspired action on something. And then once I did it, it was written within 3 to 4 months, the whole thing.
Yeah, because it was already culminated, and that all that energy was bottled up inside, and then you're like, bah, here it is, everyone. And I think not
Yeah.
everybody's physical body operates in the same way as well. In my experience, I have had other clients that they will make much more spontaneous decisions, or they can just take that action immediately. And that is in alignment with how their soul is operating on this planet, and in their businesses and in their relationships. They're able to just act quickly without a whole lot of that, I guess, dancing with the energy. The pathways just open up, and then it's like a lightning strikes and they hit it, and that's it. And for some people, that is their reality. And again, it just depends on how much we want to practice. We can also believe and change our beliefs. And there's a lot of, I think growing up, I've had a lot of conditioning to do with, oh, it's just your personality. Oh, you're too loud. You're this, you're that. It's your personality. I have now got a belief that whatever we choose to believe is our personality, that's our aura, that's the energy that we're putting out. And it's exactly the same with projects for me. If I want to believe that it's going to take me a long time to play and to culminate, it might work for me the best way. But if I also want to take messy action and just get stuff done, I can also back myself with that because I've practiced enough of both to know which one is necessary. Again, it comes back to intuition and discernment. I was going to say discernment first there. So I'm like,
Yes. Discernment is one of my favorite words too. Discernment and relevant, because not everything is relevant for us to experience. So it's discernment and relevant are my two favorite words right now. But yeah, the listeners need to understand and have an awareness of how they engage with different projects, right? With the writing, with that particular project, I sat on it for a year. The other day, this was a couple months ago, I forgot I even did it. I had saw a friend of mine publish in Next Level Psychic magazine. As soon as I saw her post, I sat down at the computer, I wrote the article and I sent it. Totally forgot about it.
Amazing.
And then she connected with me on Instagram with some post where, she took a snapshot of like her phone with like, they had reached like bestseller status and tagged me on it. I'm like, who is this?
Yeah, you're like, what did I even do that?
Yeah, she's like, you wrote an article. I'm like, oh yeah, I did, didn't I? She's like, we published it. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay.
You're like, great, I got published. So then, yeah, of course, that was just you looking at the synchronicity and going, hey, that feels good for me. I'm just going to go there. And you went there immediately, completely detached from the situation. And hey, presto, manifesto. Like that's what happens sometimes because it's an opportunity and then we just take it. And sometimes if you need to sit on it, that's okay too. But you just have to make the decision, make the choice. Am I going to do it or am I not? How much more time do I need? And there might be other barriers that are in the way. So I am super grateful that you've been able to like share this formula with everyone and really elaborate on those topics. And just in light of Allison mentioning her books, I'd love for you to just go on a bit of a spiel. Tell us what your offers are for 2023 and what are you selling next?
Oh my God, I am so excited about this next thing. It literally came about a couple of days ago, and you talk about taking like instant action. So I'm putting together an online community. It's called the Accelerate Your Mojo community. Accelerate Your Mojo is accelerate means realize sooner. Mojo is connecting to divine. So that's the name of my book, my program, what I coach people on, all that. So I'm putting together an online community where I host my stuff as Kajabi, and they have just purchased Vibely, which is a online community, I guess, and I have access to it. It's like part of my membership with Kajabi. So I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. So I'm going to be offering at a ridiculously low price, like several group coaching sessions every month. It's going to be this holistic community where you get coaching on the Accelerate Your Mojo principles. I'm going to have pop-up coaching like on channeling and mentorship. I'm even going to do sort of sporadic things like passion project meetups where we talk about things that I've been passionate about in my life. And sometimes, you do all these things, you're like, how are all these dots connecting? Well, I'm going to talk about vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, eating. I'm going to talk about gardening. These would be like things throughout the year. I'm going to offer, I just thought about this earlier today. I'm like, what else could I add value? How abundant can I make it feel? And it's like, oh, once a month I can give people access to, that are subscribers, access to, the different courses that I have created over the years. I've done abundance mindset, law of attraction, visualization. I have like 5,000 plus students go through these courses.
Like this is some massive big open book of Allison here that you're just dropping this massive like, hey guys, have a look at all of this incredible stuff that I've done and all that wisdom. This is years, like there's decades of wisdom here, guys. Like, and how can we find you? Where do we look this up? How do we get in touch with you?
So you can contact me on Instagram or TikTok, or just my website. Allison Sutter is just my website, .com. So I'm going to plop that in the middle of it. I'm in the middle of reorganizing this. I'll have a landing page that tells everybody, oh, this is exactly what you're getting. But I kid you not, it's going to be $12.99 a month. You know what I'm like, I can't even, it's like at that price for what you're getting, it's like over $1,000 worth of, it's like $1,500 worth of minimum.
You're being generous. You're being so generous.
But I love to show abundance. I
Yeah.
love for people to feel the expansion that they are. And I know that there are going to be thousands and thousands. And I'm going to have like, the founders offer where the first, I don't know, I'll do either time limit or people where they get access to certain things if they're a founder, and then they can have it for like $12.99. It's going to go up after a little while. The $12.99 will be like the founders um, price or something, and
It's
then it'll like
great. I'm
skyrocket
sure like
after that. But
it's all gonna come together because you've already, like you said, all the pathways have opened up now, and then you've taken this action super quickly. So I'm really happy. I'm so excited. It's Sutter, by the way, Allison Sutter with a double TER. So everybody go and check out that.com. And I'm just really, really showing so much gratitude right now. And thank you for being a part of Strategy and Soul podcast. This was really deep, quick, amazing. Like, who doesn't love all of that?
thank you for having me. It's been a
Yeah.
joy.
My pleasure. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode. If you want to leave a comment, leave some reviews, and share this around your network with other like-minded people. We are creating a new world paradigm, and this is Strategy and Soul with Danica Rose Creative. Take care.